Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take It from the Iron Woman, only special guests. It seems like this week I'm only speaking to architects. Today we go to Jo Petroni. She's an architect, illustrator, and climate activist. Maybe, Jo, you tell us, what else are you doing or what else are you not doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am Jo Petroni. I've been thinking about the way we talk about climate for a very long time. The way it relates to my work as an architect is that the way we make our houses, the way we build our homes is a reflection of our relationship with nature. The moment I realized that, I knew that our connection to nature was the bit that was the most important. Talking about a relationship with nature and deepening it as much as possible, even in this wild times that we live in, it is one of the things that we must do. Now there's a new element to the table in that this nature that we're connecting with is changing. And us humans are really bad with change. How do we process that? How do we talk about it? And we've been talking about it really bad. We've been bashing each other with data, even more data, and just gathering more information. What I'm trying to do is bring it back to the human level.
I think we're guests here on this planet Earth, and we should love the planet Earth. And I know in one of your videos, it says, I will recycle more tomorrow. I think we're a little behind the pendulum. I grew up in Switzerland, and there I grew up recycling. And then I moved to the US, and I think the first few months I had a bottle of wine, and it took me 4 weeks to throw it away because my heart broke. And then, I don't know, after 5 or 6 years, they introduced finally a recycling program. It's still not the best, but at least it's something.
So me and Melissa have been part of the Carbon Almanac network, and we've co-created, along with the marvelous Seth Godin, this gathering of all the info that we need on the subject for us to have better conversations on the basis of that book. One thing we realized was that this whole story about it's your thing to do, it's your responsibility at the individual level, it's not going to work out the way we dream it's going to work out. What we need to do is change the systems. And the recycling system now is, it seems, not working as we hope it should. It's getting better and better, but it's the systems that we live around and with that need to be changed on all the levels. That's really, really hard to do.
That's why we have you. What is your vision that needs to happen?
Good question. I'm trying to keep myself away from making predictions. I try to live more in the present than in the past and in the future. What I know I need to do is take the best courses of action at every moment. If we all try to do that, we can together strive for something marvelous. I mean, the ripple effect of care and love and togetherness is something fantastic. If we just find it again, it's bound to unleash that beautiful world that we know is out there.
We're with you. And I know you write letters to imaginary friends. Talk a little bit about that. That to me seems so romantic.
Yes, Trivian Galosh, and Loretta are some of my imaginary friends. I have a deep relationship, very different relationships with each and every one of them. They have different personalities, they have different lives, and we have different histories together, even though they don't exist. Now, that's why I can write different types of letters to each of them, because we can talk about different stuff in a different way, so access different levels of relationships. It's been a trick that I've been using to get to a deeper level of conversation.
Give us some insights on how do the letters look like. And I see that you can subscribe to those letters.
Yes, Joe's Epistolary of Imaginary Friends is an illustrated video format newsletter that you can find on Substack, and you can subscribe for free. You can find it at joepetroni.substack.com.
Give us an insight of one of the letters.
Well, in the latest letter that I published just 10 minutes ago, right before I came in live with you, is the mind trip that I have while shopping for detergent, for laundry detergent. Mm-hmm. And it has all the guilt trip. I don't want to do this. I want to be somewhere else. And all of it. It goes round and round and round. That's a fun one. Well, the other ones are very, very sad. Taking a trip up the hill to the fig tree to watch the landscape after a friend has died. They're very different. And that's why I have different imaginary friends to talk about them.
Don't we all have those imaginary friends? It's our inside voice, our creativity, the devil, the monkeys.
I think that even that each imaginary friend that you can harness, that you can create within yourself, is a good one to be, even if he's a villain, even if he's shy or egotistical, or we all have those bits inside of us, and so they can be made into a friend.
Become friends with the villains, and how do you conquer those villains then?
You don't conquer them, you love them. And I think it's by loving your shadow that you become more than yourself.
And I studied psychology, so the shadow and the imagination to me is something really interesting. How did that start for you?
Well, I started writing a newsletter because it was the newsletter craze. Everybody had to have a newsletter. You have a business, you have a newsletter. And I started writing about architecture and explaining to people, having a marketing pitch every week about how I'm a great architect and you should hire me and why you need an architect. And it drained me. I knew it wasn't the thing I was supposed to do, but I took the habit of writing, and that habit stuck. Once I took out the trying to impress part and let in the being vulnerable bit, something clicked, and that's how it started.
And do you bring in that element of architecture still?
I do. It's been shifting a lot. And so lately I've been writing more about climate and nature, but they're so intricately related for me that this comes back to the same topics in a way.
When you say you start out with something and then it morphs into something else, isn't that where the creativity, innovation, and imagination comes in? You mentioned we're not so good with change. I always say we have to change every single day. Every day is different. Every season is different. We have to adapt even if we don't like it. Why start somewhere and you are the same person for the next 20 years when you send out the newsletter?
Yes, well, as starting out was the hard part. Once you get something going, at least the habit of writing and publishing, it's like getting out in the morning and doing your exercise, and you have to start.
As says Godin says, ship it.
Ship it. So the habit of shipping it, the hitting publish, the publish button, that's very hard to do. I think I'm in a rhythm now. I also used to publish every week, which is very hard. And now I only publish every 2 weeks. That gives me time to really process. I was really afraid of saying, oh no, I can't publish every week or every day or but I realized it was better for me that way. And it was a very good choice.
Do you want to talk about them, good humans, a creative agency for climate communication, or is that part of what you're doing? It seems like everything is so intertwined.
Everything is intertwined and everything is all over the place as well.
I like that. It's a chaos is everywhere. We just need to go through the chaos.
And I heard just today, I had a conversation with a friend who said that the best way to find your path is to first get lost. And so now I'm probably in the lost phase. There's a common thread in all of it. And the common thread is talking about this big thing that's happening to us, this big change that's happening to us. The sea change with a capital C is an effort to create a creative agency that, using the same tools as Joe's Epistolary, but utilizing it in different formats, can enhance climate communication for organizations with a purpose.
We need more of you. How can people contribute? Is it signing up for your newsletter, or how do you envision to create a bigger community for that?
Damn Good Humans is a creative agency that wants to work for and with nonprofits. In parallel to that, Joe's Epistolary will remain on Substack as a biweekly publication, most probably be free in the long run, because it's very fun to do. And I think the purpose of it is for more people to watch them and maybe feel something.
Let's feel something. It seems like you're creating so much. And as an architect, you're creating something. So it's that creativity and building something that's coming out and that needs to be shared with the wider public.
Absolutely. I was very shy for a long time about publishing stuff that I created. And now I'm all over the place. And I think it's one of the best decisions I took.
Still wandering around in the unknown, in the shadow, in the imagination. How can we unlock more?
By accepting our vulnerability
What
and
else?
accepting that we'll never figure it out. And it's fine.
I like that. It's almost like when we ask the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I think we should never grow up. We should be curious, wander around, and create that imagination around us.
Life is not a place that we need to get to. It's a process. And enjoying the process is the best bit.
And how do you prepare for 2023? We're very close to the end of the year.
After a pretty intense autumn, I think a good mindful break is in order. Not a big one, but a breather indeed.
Okay.
And a cup of tea and looking out at the linden tree outside my window.
And they're in hibernation now because we all are in the northern hemisphere.
Yes, well, climate is changing and our November has been one of the warmest ever. We've been enjoying very, very good weather lately. No hibernation yet, but it's coming. It's going to come at some point.
Thank you so much for all your wise insights, for taking us on a journey of imagination, but also bringing us back to the reality that we all are in this together and enjoying your great work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure.
What an interesting conversation. Talking about climate communication. It's about the good humans that we find with imaginary friends. Thank you for being with us. Take it from the Ein Woman. We have episodes every Monday. Don't miss out. There are stories from people from around the world. And Take It from the Ein Woman is also a book. It's about global business coaching with sports parallels. Download it, buy it in your local bookstore, support small businesses. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.